What's good, everybody? It's your brother Nubreed coming through with another live stream. By show of ones, everything is coming through clearly. I give YouTube a moment. All right, I see the ones coming in. What up, Casper? Max, what's happening, brother? Chantel's in the building. Hello. Chief Beef. Sacred's in the house. Have no fear. CJ is in the building. Casper. Tamika Buckley. Ricky Hood. What's going on? Alex. Live in abundance. Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. So, the news is breaking out. Apparently, Donald Trump is considering invoking the Insurrection Act, which overrides the Posse Contaminants Act, so military can be federalized and they can pretty much police communities, police states and cities. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's already happening. It's already happening. And a lot of people are talking about this right now because it's becoming very real that there's a war being waged from the U.S. government via military, National Guard to be exact, versus the United States citizens. And we've only been talking about this for several years, that this day would come. We've only been talking about how there will be martial law in America, how there will be checkpoints, how there will be stop and frisk for everybody, pretty much. We've been talking about this. We've been talking about tyranny and how everybody was being conditioned to accept having our rights taken away. So now in Chicago, there seems to be a lot of mixed media going out there, you know, and I want to say this before I even get into what's going on with this civil war that's already happening technically. I mean, you got Democrats versus Republicans. You got pretty much America has been broken down into fractions. Let's just be 100 about that. But as I was saying, not to digress, when it comes to Chicago or any state where illegal immigrants, specifically criminals, are being sent back to where they belong, I don't have no issues with that. You know, I don't have any issues with that at all. But what I do have an issue with is when it starts to spill over into our communities. Now, I do realize that the Democratic side dumped a lot of these individuals, these criminals, into our communities. But see, anytime you have these people that's not wearing badges and they got their face mask, you can't stop everybody from foul play. Especially when some time ago we had an ICE director who got put on blast for running a racist Twitter page. He got unmasked and doxxed for running a racist Twitter page. And it was a director in ICE. So the type of people that may be behind these masks may be bringing this stuff to our communities. Snatching our people up, treating them rough, scuffing them up, things of that nature. So that's something that we got to look out for. But nonetheless, this is what I want y'all to understand. Project 2025 is coming around full swing. I know a lot of people thought that was just quote unquote fear mongering, but it wasn't, because Trump himself says that he's been conversating with the guy who came up with Project 2025. And before he got elected, Trump claimed that he had nothing to do with Project 2025, but now they seem to be colluding together. So what this is all about is bringing in the digital currency, bringing in the mark of the beast system, getting people used to permanent military presence on federalized buildings. And that's what it's about. Because they want a system in place where anybody who does not bow down to the system, they can intimidate, or even worse, detain. And this is the times the Bible been talking about, y'all. We're here. We're living in those times. You know, people talk about, oh man, it may be a civil war that could break off in America. Have you turned on the news? Have they turned on the news? I mean, across every news station, all they showing you is military in the streets. All they showing you is civil unrest. All they showing you is protests turning violent. I mean, the order out of chaos is out here. It's full swing. But there's another war going on. See, we've been in World War III. People been waiting on World War III. Listen, we've already been in it. We just been in the beginning stages of World War III. The moment they started putting those sharp objects in people and had them tweaking out, that's when the war started. When it was 6 feet apart at the grocery stores and there was no toilet paper and groceries was running out and people couldn't get their medications, that was the beginning of the war. When it started psychologically and everybody became at odds, that was the beginning of the war. So now what's happening is this war is manifesting physically. Yeah, most people failed the test, and now the so-called powers that be can roll out their plan. And that's what's happening. Yeah, so you got a lot of people saying, man, civil war, man, they talking about a civil war. You've been in a civil war. You've been in a civil war. A lot of us at war with our own family. Some of us at war in our own household. Some of us at war with friends. And some of us at war at the workplace. Some of us at war with ourselves. But everybody talking about a civil war coming? No, the civil war is here. And you know what the irony of all that is? The war ain't even really civil. I said the irony of that is the war ain't even civil. The war is uncivil, violent, aggressive. It's only civil between those up top because they're like the mob. They all work together. There may be different families in the mob, but nonetheless, they all about organized crime. But the people who's going to feel the Civil War, everybody think it's the Democrats and Republicans, that they're going to just be going at each other's necks. And that's all a show. That's all a show. Y'all got to understand, that's the show. That's a show that we supposed to look at and think that, oh, this is just the government. They firing federal agents here. They doing this and doing that. No, they all working together still. To do what? Bring the people into chaos. That's why I tell people all the time, y'all stay away. Don't go out there protesting about nothing. Don't get caught up in your emotions about any of this stuff. Yep, that's right in the works with Stevie. What they got going on out there is theater. It's theater. Why? Because they're running out of time. Satan's kingdom is falling. Babylon will burn. So what they doing? Doing all these made-for-TV scripts, all this political theater. They've been doing the same thing since ancient Rome. Yeah. You got these people going into different cities, setting up the cameras at the perfect angle with this manufactured chaos they got going on in the streets. As if we, who got eyes to see, don't see what they're doing. Look, and this is why they're doing it. Yep, it's 70 AD all over again. That's right, Stevie. And see, the reason they doing it is because we wake up. I mean, oh, ladies and gentlemen, we practically see through everything now. I'm talking about God's chosen people. We see through it. The jig is up. We know the game is rigged now. We see the full picture. You said it's a little windy? Sorry about that. Thanks for letting me know. See, we're not believing nothing that the celebrities tell us. We're not believing nothing the politicians tell us. People are catching on to everything. All of their agendas are ineffective. And they know it. So what do now? They start pulling a Nero. Trump is your modern day Nero. In case y'all don't know who Nero is, Nero burnt his own buildings down. Then he blamed it on the children of God so he can engage them. This happened in Jerusalem, 70 AD, when Vespasian and his son Titus compassed Jerusalem with armies. And what they did was it started off with Nero burning his own federal buildings. It's the same thing, just to do what? Start to accuse and engage. That's what they did. Now, they got a few tricks up their sleeves this time because America has Democrats and Republicans. The Democrats, they brung in all these criminals. They brung in criminals. Better believe they brung in criminals. They brung in people, if y'all remember correctly, these illegal immigrants were squatting in people's homes. They was robbing people. They was bringing all kind of drugs into the community. They was taking over apartments. Well, guess what? The Democrats dumped those people right in our communities. And then what the Republicans did was say, you know what? Now we're going to go get them. But in the process, we're going to give y'all new optics. We're going to give y'all new optics. What do I mean by that? Now we're used to seeing military in our neighborhoods. I'm not saying that they are out to get foundational Black Americans, because by law they can't. But guess what they did? Particularly in Chicago. They got the ATF out there. They got different letter organizations. Why did they do that? To bypass jurisdiction. See, if you get the ATF out there and you get different groups out there and you get to asking people if they got any warrants, and you just get to running up on people, you just blurred the lines there a little bit. Because now we got military in our community. It's just too close to home. It's just too close. And now you got different agencies out there that are coming after pretty much all these marginalized groups. Because now you're looking for people who got warrants and got this and got that. Now I'm not trying to defend criminality. That's not what I'm doing. But what I'm showing you is now we're used to something that we should never get used to. I understand that there was a neighborhood in Chicago and they had to clean up the neighborhood of these gangs, these cartel gangs I understand they had to do that, and but come on now, when you gotta zip tie our people, and even though they had to do it to clean the building out, it's just the whole thing just doesn't sit right. It doesn't sit right because now there's a line crossed that they're gonna habitually cross. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Somebody says I see what both sides are saying, but I think they're taking it too far with too much government control. Period. Absolutely. Absolutely. It is. It's gone way too far. It's gone way too far. And that's right. That's why God's chosen people, God's elected people, have elected not to get involved with Democrats or Republicans. We go right down the middle with it because we know that they're all playing the game. They're telling you that they're going to have a civil war. They're telling you that they're having a civil war. The only people that's feeling the only people feeling the brunt of war is the people. The U.S. citizens are the only ones who are enduring warfare. Those people out there are having lunch together. So the best thing we could do is sit it out. Let me see. Somebody says, Democrats spreading lies about what happened. They targeted that building for those Mexicans, etc. Right. But let me tell y'all, we've been in a civil war. And I'm going to take it a step further. I know it may be a little bit windy, but it's crazy because the wind started blowing when I came out. Feels good, though. Ladies and gentlemen, this civil war that we are already in and have been in for quite some time now is more spiritual than you can imagine. See, everything that you see taking place physically is just a manifestation of what's going on in the spiritual realm. And now, metaphysically, a lot of things are transpiring. And what we got to keep in mind is we're at a time where we, and I say we, God's people, have to stay grounded. The Bible tells us that we hide ourselves for a time. We hide ourselves for a time and let this pass. Now, of course, in America, there's been civil wars before. You know, some would say that the country was established on civil war. That's not the alarming part. The alarming part is how far it has went. The alarming part is how far it has went when it comes to the power that has been given to the government. Listen, there's an antichrist spirit in America. There's an antichrist spirit. I don't know if y'all know this, but the judge that tried to stop Donald Trump from basically the judge that was trying to get Donald, the judge that said it was illegal what he was doing. So Trump would have to give what's the word for it? I forget the word, but a junction. Trump would have to give a junction for why he's doing that. Did y'all know that man's house burnt down? Do y'all know, like yesterday, this man's house was burnt down and he was getting all kind of threats from MAGA. Yup. They burnt that man's whole house down. A violent fire, too. It's all on the news. And this man was threatened. God's property says, yes, I seen that. Yeah. So what makes this civil war so different, it looks like a hostile takeover. It looks like it has all the elements of a hostile takeover. Yep. Somebody said, yeah, I heard about that. Yep. They done burnt that man's house down. Now I'm saying they allegedly, we don't know what started the fire. So I'm saying allegedly, but come on, man. This man was this man was the only judge that stepped up and said something. Like, hey, hold on now. We're gonna need a junction. Now, what would that junction have done? He might be intimidated now, but that junction would have had to show why he was invading these different cities and places, and it would have had to show what was going on with the crime rates in these places. That would have had to come out, because it's like they merged two different conversations to confuse the people. They mix illegal immigrants with crime. Now, we know illegal immigrants brought crime, but when they went to DC and Chicago, they were unclear at who they were going at. Were you going at criminals or were you going at illegal immigrants? Think about that. Somebody said MAGA is the cancer of America. Yeah, it is. It's racist. It's founded on racism and bigotry and hate. MAGA definitely is a cancer. Let me see. CJ said, yeah, they slick with it. I'm telling you, man, they got the people. And then they had a couple of our people get on the news and say, yeah, we glad they cleaning up the streets, which they probably paid them $50 in a Happy Meal to get up there and say that. But let's be real. Those people should have never been in our communities to begin with. But that's what the Democrats did. And the Republicans, they're just taking it too far. It looks crazy out there. It looks wild on the streets. When you look at the news, it looks like something out of a movie. It looks like a Purge movie. Yeah, give them a Modelo and a pack of cigarettes. Yeah, somebody said it. Yeah, it looks like a movie, like a post-apocalyptic utopian film when you look at the news. Yeah. And somebody said, and it's a cheap production. I'm going to have to agree. Let me see. Imani says, since 9/11 happened, my mother worked blocks away from the World Trade Center as a case manager via ACS for 7 years. And she was the only Muslim in her unit. That's interesting. Speaking of 9/11, ever since the Patriot Act, it seemed like the whole country been tiptoeing on tyranny ever since. That Patriot Act, that's when you start getting frisked and you have to step through radiation just to get to your airplane. Ever since that Patriot Act, gang stalking has been very popular. Illegal phone taps and wiretaps. There was a young lady that just committed self-deletion not too long ago. She was talking, a sister that I watch on YouTube. She was a YouTuber. Just self-deleted herself because of the program. Real sad stuff. And I was thinking about reacting to some of her material and what she was going through mentally. But, you know, perhaps I will react to some of the stuff she put out. But I'm telling you, yeah, gang stalking went through the roof after that. Somebody says, remember the Democratic Speaker of the House of Minnesota and her husband was shot to death earlier this year too. Yeah. It's always been political violence. I'm not saying that all of these people get along, but I am telling you that there's a master plan. There's a grand scheme in all of this to pretty much create chaos within the people. That's what it's always been about. Always been about that. Let me see. Somebody says Reagan started immigration and denuclearization of America. He pushed the outsourcing to other countries while bringing immigrants here for cheap labor. That's true. And once they were done with them, because that's what America do. After they were done with them, they pretty much chewed them up and got rid of them. Yeah, it's like we in an alternative universe, man. How many of y'all can relate to what I'm talking about, man? It's almost like we all see this stuff going on, and it's like people in a they in a trance. It's like they in a trance. If we could just really look at what's happening, we are so close to the New World Order. It's ridiculous. Like in the UK right now, in just 1 month, in the United Kingdoms, people cannot work jobs without having the mark of the beast. They cannot work jobs without having the mark of the beast. Literally, this is 1 month away. Their whole government, they've already passed every bill to make sure that happens. Which means if you in the UK, you got to figure it out. You got to either leave or you got to really get on your purpose and follow the creator so he can show you how to navigate. And this is not something I'm making up. This is facts. I done fact checked it, dug into it. I done used all of the fact checking sources, and it is real. I looked at their governmental pages and the statements they put out, and they said it just as clear as day. If you in the UK and you do not have an implantable chip, you cannot work. Which bring us to Revelation 16 and 17. We are in the Antichrist system. Yeah, we are in the Antichrist system, and there's been a civil war. And so the Most High, the Almighty, has been warning us to prepare for the times that we're in. And the way we do that is we got to consecrate ourselves and we got to plan accordingly, because there's about to be a major shift that takes place. And let me tell you what the Illuminati satanic elite does, right? What they do is they just copy, right? They just copy everything. Look, God's people, we know that the shift, the metaphysical shift that's happening is a transfer of power and true wealth. So what do? They make a makeshift version of that. They assassinate Charlie Kirk. They say they found a shooter on the 33rd hour, which represents a transfer of power. So they do what the devil does, and they make they pretty much copy us. And they have their own transfer of power that goes on, and they just passing the baton from one demon to the next, right? Meanwhile, the Most High is playing them, because everything that happened is for the greater good of those who choose God. So they getting played, and the reason they getting played is because we see right through them. We see everything they do. We seeing the whole game 3-dimensionally. So what do that mean? You have to create crisis. You have to manufacture events. You have to make things happen. Man, Charlie Kirk might not even be dead. Charlie Kirk, like, that's the crazy part. It's that deep. He might not even be dead. They might have took him through a trap door. And I know it sounds crazy what I'm saying, but that's what these people do. They're magicians. They are magicians. So they do magic, sorcery, divination, and they create these illusions to do what? Curve public perception. They create these illusions to curve public perception. But what happens when public perception can't be curved by the witchcraft? You got to pull the plug. That's right. Stevie said it. Physicians are no value. Once they can't fool the people and their mask slips off, The next step is to engage them. All right, they're not falling for it. They're not falling for the distractions, the lies, none of that. They see through the whole picture. Yeah, and if it did happen, it didn't happen the way they showed us. That's for sure. Yeah, the mask is completely off. So it's like, look, now we got to bring brute force. And what's happening essentially is the serpent is eating his own tail. The serpent is eating his own tail. They thought a long time ago the children of God would be defeated. They didn't think that we would keep on striving for knowledge and surviving through all this, through all of this psychological warfare. You know, they tried everything. People talking about a civil war coming. What? Listen, they've been feeding you people at McDonald's and Burger King. What you talking about a civil war coming? Civil war coming. They feeding you fetuses. They done took all the seeds out of the fruits and vegetables so you can't grow livestock. They done contaminated all the soil so nothing flourishes, while simultaneously buying up all the land. And we talking about a civil war coming? Look, they've been at war with you. They've been at war. They've been at war with God's people from the beginning. Yeah, it's people, you ain't heard, it's people finding femur bones in their burgers. It's people finding teeth. It's people finding teeth in their fast food burgers. Toenails and teeth and bone cartilage from humans. The cemeteries ain't even growing. The cemetery's been the same size ever since you was kids. The cemeteries haven't expanded, but death on earth have expanded. How death on earth has expanded within the last 20 years, but the cemetery is the same size? Because they feeding you people. Yeah, you're dealing with psychopaths, man. I'm trying to paint this picture for you because you got a lot of people in fear talking about a civil war coming. No, man, look, you got to wake up. You got to wake up. And this is for people who may just be catching me. Some of y'all already know this, right? Some of y'all already know this. But this is for y'all just coming in, just joining. You probably are new to the platform or whatever the case is. I've been getting a lot of new subscribers every single day. Welcome to Nubreed Global Truth, where we tell the unadulterated truth. Look, let me catch you up to speed. You got everybody talking about a civil war coming based on the fact that Trump pulled the Insurrection Act to override posse contaminants and allow military to have a permanent residence in every major city. That's pretty much what he's doing. And everybody's worried about that. And what I'm trying to describe to you all is there's no need to worry, but you do got to move accordingly. And not just based on what Trump is doing, but based on what they've been doing. Just based on what they've been doing. Just based on the fact that these people have the deed to charge us for necessities that should be free. That alone should make you want to desire your own livestock, your own fruit, your own vegetables. Just the fact that they dropped a bunker buster on Iran, who controls, through the borders of Hormuz, control 80% of the oil supply distribution. Just the fact that in the country you live in, the housing market is so utterly ridiculous that you would have to be a neuro brain surgeon just to afford to buy you a home. When just 40 years ago, you could be a barber and buy a home. Just the fact that things are depleting the way it is should make you want to move different. Not just because not just because military is trying to take permanent occupation, which is something that is alarming, but we've been talking about it so long, and there's been so much happening in between time and simultaneously while all this is happening. That's worse than the Civil War, is what I'm trying to explain to y'all. That's worse than the Civil War. And to be quite frank with you, black people, we're used to having militarized police busting down our doors, and we grew up in that. Like now that it's happening now, hey, it's unfortunate, but what's more unfortunate is that you're living in a time where there's a war on your children's minds. What's up, brother? Yeah, yeah. Nubreed Global Truth. Nubreed Global Truth. Nubreed. Yep, yep. I had to tell the Spanish brother, the Mexican brother, cool brother, the channel, man. Yeah. What's more alarming is the iPad is a weapon of mass destruction on your children's minds. It been a purge going on. The fact that when the you know what hit, they locked all the retirement homes and just start giving people phone calls that your grandmother and granddad passed from COVID. They locked the doors. You couldn't visit them. Only thing you heard is that's how they died. You don't know if it's true or not. You don't know nothing. Civil War. Somebody said black Americans is just not mad enough yet. Somebody said my mom teach my daughter to hate me. I'm sorry to hear that. Let me see. Another person says, Shalom, brother Nubreed. Let's network. Can I contact you via email? Right. Yes, you can contact me via email. Like you're living in an Antichrist time. Like it's literally the Antichrist time. Now, of course, in Paul's writings, in the book of Romans, it tell you, even in his time, there shall be many Antichrists. The Antichrist is a spirit that moves through people. The Antichrist moves through various world leaders. The Antichrist is not just one person. Everybody think it's just Donald Trump who's the Antichrist. No, listen, like South Park showed you, he's definitely in bed with the devil, and Donald Trump is definitely an Antichrist. Yes, he's definitely an Antichrist. But what I need y'all to understand is the whole beast system is Antichrist. How do we know that? Because they're against Christ's word. Look, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to take it a step further. Anybody who says what we're talking about is fear mongering, or they try to make you feel bad for preparing for the times or being socially aware, they're Antichrist. The Antichrist is in a lot of people. I would go as far as to say the Antichrist is in the mass majority. That's why hell have enlarged herself. So, and the reason I say anybody who says this is fear mongering or, us preparing is wrong is because Christ told us to prepare. Out his own mouth, he says, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. He also told us when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, flee off into the mountains. Christ himself was teaching a message of preparedness. Christ himself was teaching us a message of being prepared. He said, look unto the ant who prepares in their season. Anybody who tells you otherwise, that's antichrist. That's an antichrist spirit. Ain't no other way to put it. Bible say cry loud and spare not. Yeah, just because we telling the truth, a lot of people don't want to accept the truth. And out of fear, you become their enemy. The Bible says, have I therefore become your enemy because I told you the truth? Ladies and gentlemen, the answer is yes. A lot of people have the antichrist spirit, so when they hear the truth, they'll hate you for it, and you will become their enemy. Because now they got to look at their own lives. Yep. That's right. Steve said it. He said, Eurocentric Christianity theology will call this hate. Exactly. Yep. White Christian nationalists would call this hate. And really, it's just the truth. How many of y'all have tried to bring some awareness to the people around you by show of ones in the chat? And they looked at you like your head was spinning around. They looked at you like you was the oddball. They looked at you like with the blank stare of death, like with a cognitive dissonance. That's the Antichrist. Yeah, they looked at you like you were just hurling out something that was unbelievable. That's the Antichrist. Because the Antichrist have literally tapped into their minds and they got to reject truth. So they give you the blank stare of death. Let me see here. Yes, and sometimes they get angry. Sometimes they get real angry when you tell them the truth. They start kicking and clawing. Everybody talking about the Civil War coming. Man, Civil War? Look. You just had a rally that took place. A modern day Klan rally that took place at Charlie Kirk's memorial service. Where Stephen Miller got up there and actually replicated a neo-Nazi speech. And they were talking about going against who? Y'all know who. And you worried about a civil war between Democrats and Republicans? Can't y'all see who the war really against? See, they believe if they could take out the children of God, then they can somehow bypass judgment. But it ain't happening that way. It ain't happening that way. These devils and demons been at war with us. Why you think they gang stalked us? Why you think the people at your job, my bad, my allergies are getting me. Man, why you think the people at your workplace tried to close doors of opportunity? That was war. Why do you think these people lied and slandered and came up against you, and why you all were just going through it with people who were supposed to be close? That was, listen, like I said, that was war. That is war. That's war. Let me see. Somebody says the mark was already been created by the EU. Yeah. The mark been around for a while. They're using RFID, two-way radio frequency chips to track people. They have a satellite in the sky called the Digital Angel. And that's what they're going to use to trace people. And we know that it's following the course of the luminaries of biblical days. They called it a digital angel to be reminiscent of a fallen angel. Yeah, this war is real. They want everybody to have the mark of the beast, but we're not going for that. We're not going for that. The wicked been declared war on the righteous. It says that they watch us and gnash their teeth at us. That's the war you gotta worry about. Sometimes it be your own people. They be watching you, gnashing their teeth at you, wishing that you can fall. Some of y'all out there worried about the Civil War when you need to look at them people in your contact list. Y'all hear me? You worried about the Civil War, but you need to worry about those people in your neighborhood that keep trying to keep surfing for information. Yeah, you worried about a Civil War. You need to worry about that gossiping person at the workplace that keeps trying to get you to get involved in their confusion. You need to be worried about them people who keep throwing your name up and stuff that you ain't got nothing to do with. Because when the Civil War, well, listen, when everything really hits, you want to make sure you far away from them people. That's who you want to make sure you far away from. Because as times get more desperate, that's who's going to be your imminent threat. That's who's going to be the imminent threat. Those people who can't listen to truth no matter how much you speak it. Those are the people who are going to choose sides. Somebody said it. I'm down here in Florida. It seemed like everybody down here wicked. Man. I'm telling you. Somebody said, how's the Stevie says, how's the environment down here? In Georgia, Georgia's a little bit different. In the South, Carolinas and Georgia. I mean, I honestly think that I'm probably in some of the most decent. I'm probably in one of the most decent states that you can be in America right now. If I'm speaking real with you. Now, during the time the Democrats was in office, this just wasn't the place to be. But now it seems like down here is now that this MAGA racist cult is in there. It's like our people are sticking together more. Now it seemed to be just a little bit more respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? It's almost like, because Georgia got so many usins here. So now that they see what's going on, it's like, oh man, you know, if they bring that here, we got to kind of stick together. So Georgia is a decent place to be right now. But when them Democrats was in office, nobody was showing nobody love in Georgia. I don't know what it was. Yeah, everybody was side-eyeing each other, competing with each other, jealous of each other. Everybody acting like they're in a damn music video. And they just trying to up the next one. A lot of competitive jealousy, a lot of that is what I experienced. But now that this little racist cult, now everybody kind of speak more. Yeah, it was a lot of tension. But I think that it's better here now. I do. Because people's like, oh man, it's getting real. It's getting real out there. Let's see. Somebody said, how do we prepare not to take the mark of the beast? I'm glad you asked that. That's an excellent question. Completely quiche. Well, I'm going to tell you like this. I'm a trustee on some land over there in North Carolina. And when I go visit that land, there's a lot of farmers out there. There's a lot of people out there who can see. And they have elected to live self-sufficient for quite some time. And I have had conversations with the neighbors. And they have a trading system. You can come out the door, somebody's giving you fruits, somebody's giving you watermelon, somebody's giving you oranges, somebody may have corn down the road. Somebody may have corn down the road. Somebody else may have some lumber down the road. And you know the irony of all of this? I went down there during the government shutdown one time. It was a cyber attack. And you know what the residents were saying? They saying, you know, pretty soon they're gonna bring in the mark of the beast. But us down here, we don't care about none of that. That's what they said. They said we don't care about none of that because if one don't have, we're gonna look out for each other. We're gonna trade amongst each other. There will be a bartering system. And that's what's gonna happen. There will be some sort of bartering system. There will be a bartering system when everything go down because it would be forced into that. It would be forced for us to have some type of bartering system. We would have to adjust to survive. So I want you to understand that the scriptures doesn't say that everybody will get the mark. It says the Antichrist will cause all to receive the mark, small and large, free and bond. That means people from all walks of life. Meaning people in jail, people who free, people who rich, people who poor. They will all accept the mark of the beast. Not saying that everyone would get it, but people from all walks of life would get it. So there will be trading systems. So my answer is network with people of like-minded. Get away from toxic people, get around righteous people. Yeah, get around people that can see what's going on in the world. Network with those people. And you got to be willing to, leave the world behind. Yes, Tania says you have to find your strengths and utilize them. Find your strengths and utilize them so you can be an asset. You can barter that service. Exactly. That's how you prepare. I recommend everybody learn some type of trade. Learn a trade that can help you survive. Something you can take with you anywhere. Also, we got to learn survival skills. Us men of this just generation of this day and age, we got to do better. We got to do better with learning, and we can't never stop learning. Just because you 40 or 50 don't mean you can't learn a new skill or a new trade. Matter of fact, that's what keep you young. What keep you aging gracefully is if you constantly reading, learning new things, because that's the way the mind works. If you learning new skills, if you learning new talents, if you getting more information that'll make you better and you're building yourself up, it'll keep you aging. It'll keep you aging gracefully. Because that's how it works. When you stay stagnant, you die off. You die when you stagnant. You die when you're not trying to better yourself and you're not pursuing new dynamics, new heights, and new goals. Yeah, learn. And you ladies out there, same thing. Not just the fellas, but we got to lead families and lead tribes and villages. So it's especially true, it reigns true for us. But you ladies too, learn how to garden. Get yourself a good brother who's going to show you how to use that firearm. Who's going to show you how to throw a punch. Because they talking about a civil war, but women getting snatched up off the streets every day. Women are getting snatched up, raped, organs getting harvested every single day. You be sitting there waiting on a civil war, and really what it catch you off slipping is you leaving the grocery store. Yep. Yeah, somebody said union, carpenter, too long. Yes, learn to hunt, fish, and garden too. Exactly. See, around my neighborhood, I give my channel out to everybody. You know why? Because my community is a predominantly Black and Hispanic community, and everybody out here got their own thoughts. And one thing for sure and two things for certain, I like when the message spread who I am, because I'm crying my message out from the rooftop. I'm not trying to hide and be a prisoner in my own and the truth. I'm not ashamed of the gospel. And some of you all out there may be watching afraid to share this with people because how people gonna act. I don't get a lot of shares, but don't be afraid. If you play one of Nubreed's videos and it irritates somebody's demons around them, then I did you a favor. I did you a favor. Don't hide the truth and have it all to yourself, and you be becoming a better person. But at the same time, you want to hide the truth because you're scared of how people gonna act. No, it's too late for that. It's too late for that. We got to get the message out. Do you hunt, breed? Because I recall an old video of yours where I think you started fishing. Yes, I do. I could do some hunting. I have hunted before, and I'm savvy with the firearm. And so, yeah, I stand on that. Dijon, thank you for the support, says, look, when you ask the Lord for repentance of generational covenant made with the devil, watch the Lord work, and it's amazing. Right. Yeah. I know everybody's been thinking about this civil war, but here's my advice. Start renewing the mind. Start to repent, live a lifestyle that seeks repentance. Nobody's perfect. We all fall short of the glory, but continue striving. The whole goal is to keep getting back up. Keep showing up. Keep striving. Keep your heart in the right place. And be careful how you treat people out here, because when things do get very serious out here, which they will in America, things are going to get real serious. When they do, I want you to keep in mind the only thing that's going to matter is your faith, your integrity, the morals that you have, how you treat other people, the respect that you give out. And that's what's going to matter when it comes to survival. That's what's going to matter when it comes to our mass exodus out of our last captivity. Only thing that's going to matter is who you are spiritually. Right? Now, look, one love to y'all. Of course, more material coming. I want to thank everybody for showing up. It's always an honor and a blessing building with y'all. I got more coming. Thank y'all. Y'all be blessed out there. Stay safe. Peace.